So let me remind you that we are talking about giving instructions and checking understanding today. We have a lovely student, Julia, who kindly agreed to help us. Yes, so I have found all the buttons and we can start. And first of all, let's talk about the following. Why are instructions important? Why do we have to practice giving them? Why do we have to think how to give them properly? Any ideas?
Well, the student has to understand what he's going to do.
Yeah, exactly, because without instructions, what would they do? Right, and Julia raised a very good question. The instructions are usually written. The student can see them. Why can't the student just read them? Why do we need to say something? Anyone?
Maybe just to make a kind of conversation.
A conversation about what?
About the topic of the lesson. Just to invite the student to start speaking about something, to inspire him to do this.
Is it an instruction or a lead-in if we are talking about?
Okay, maybe it's a lead-in.
Okay.
Well, maybe you can paraphrase. The instruction is written maybe in very, like, I don't know, dry language. You can, you know your student, so you know what language he has, and you can just, I don't know, maybe downgrade this level to his level, or maybe make it more clear, because you know your student better than you. Can give an example, maybe, or I don't know.
Yeah, exactly. Many instructions are just confusing, or the language is too difficult for the student. Maybe there are too many steps in one sentence, and it's difficult for the student to understand. But someone wrote them. Why did they do it? Why did they make our life difficult? Any ideas?
Well, they are same for everyone. They are like neutral instructions. Maybe they use the usual standard language of giving instructions. I don't know.
What language is that?
Oh, it's cool language.
Okay. Julia, you wanted to add something?
Well, maybe if the student can't understand teacher's instructions, then they can read the instructions.
So you think it's okay to read the instructions? We'll look at some instructions later and we'll see if it's really okay, or maybe we as teachers can do a better job. Well, and what is a good instruction? What kind of instruction is easier to understand for the student? Easier for us to give, maybe. Let's think about it from both points of view.
Short and clear.
Anything else? Okay, short and clear is actually enough for a start.
Well, it should be understandable, first of all.
Okay, which leads us to the next question. If a good instruction is understandable, why does it happen that the students don't understand instructions? Maybe
because the instruction is not good. Yes.
Maybe, but maybe it's the student's problem. Maybe so we speak, right? We say the instruction. Maybe it's a problem with their listening skills. Maybe they're just bad at listening, and we need to work on listening more to improve.
Well, different people have different, I don't know, like way of thinking. And if you say something that you think is really very good, short, and understandable, for somebody it would be something like, what is he talking about? Like, have no idea. So maybe it's the problem of way of thinking. Some people, different people have different life experience. I don't know, and so.
Okay. Well, so it could be just, we think about different things, but still, if we look at least 5 lessons that every student has in a row, some activities are pretty much typical, and sooner or later they should tune in and start understanding our way of thinking when we give instructions. Okay, maybe it's a vocabulary problem. Maybe they just don't know the words that we say. Maybe we should give them more words to learn.
That's very often the case. So with beginners or elementary students, they, for example, don't know the word guess or something like this.
Isn't there a lesson on classroom language for beginners or elementary students? I don't remember.
There is, but
Intermediate, I think.
Elementary has it, I guess. I think so.
So actually, if they don't know the words like guess, we can just teach them. Maybe they're not really bright in general, maybe in real life they also don't understand most things. Maybe we're just not lucky with them. What do you think? Can this be the case?
Maybe, but maybe in 5% of all the situations.
Right, and mostly if the student doesn't understand the instruction, mostly it's not the student's fault, it's the instruction that it's not very clear. Students are generally smart enough to understand what it means to match words and pictures or to fill in the gaps and so on. Yes, but sometimes it's not formulated clearly. Okay, the question that Andy raised, should we use L1, Russian or some other first language that you share with the student?
I'm in favor of not using L1.
Okay. Why?
It doesn't take much time to get used to the instructions because it's just maybe 20 words they need to know.
Right, so there's not much. They repeat all the time, so I think sooner or later we can help them get used to our instructions. Okay, so let's look at some instructions that I just snipped from different course books. This one is, by the way, for beginners. These 2 are for elementary level students. So I'm giving you a minute to just look through the instructions, the examples of activities, and let's discuss them. Are they good? Are they too confusing? Are they clear? Are they long, short, understandable? Julia, the student, you can also contribute. Would it be easy for you to understand these instructions or not, and why?
Instructions on the left, on the right are for elementary.
On the right, so you mean this one, over to you. This is for beginner students.
B is like B is like a text. Yeah, you should give this as homework to translate and understand this text. Yeah, the instruction. Next lesson you will translate it for me. Yeah.
Okay, so this instruction is obviously not very good. What can make it better?
Maybe just read the example, and proper example would explain everything.
Okay.
Like, this is the game. Read the example and play the game.
Yeah, demonstration usually helps. Okay, what about the other ones? What about this listening? Is it a good instruction?
3A looks quite good.
What makes it good?
It's short.
Alicia, this is elementary. The first two are elementary. The long one is beginner. Okay, it's short. What else?
They have a demonstration of what they should do.
It's divided into 2 pieces.
Yeah, the way it should be, the way it happens in the lesson. And maybe the only problematic word potentially is item, but you can easily pre-teach it, yes, to show that this is an item, this is an item, yes. So thin, it's a synonym to thin. Yeah, vocabulary is not elementary in the instructions. What were they thinking? How could they publish such books, right? What about this one? Oops, complete the conversations.
I think it's not good enough. Occasions it's not understandable. Maybe who is talking to who, or what the situation is, or something.
Yeah, what the situation is. That's a good question. It's a lot better than, you know, trying to explain the word occasion to your elementary student, right? Okay, so our conclusion would be the following. What makes an instruction better? Here I have a prompt. Conversations, dialogues. I'm not sure what it means.
Paraphrasing.
Paraphrasing, yes, so using simple language. And also, look here, imagine that you are an elementary student who read this instruction, got confused, but then you have these bubbles. How do they help you?
The bubbles are really helpful.
So demonstration makes any instruction
good.
Clear.
Better, yeah, clear. Okay, great. What else can help us?
Pictures, gestures.
Gestures, pointing, Lisa says, miming, so using all the devices that you possibly can. If you remember our lesson with Mikhail, I had to use it a lot because I had a very low-level student, which is fine because, like we said, the activities are typical, and sooner or later, if you see some matching activity, you don't even have to say anything. You can just show, okay, and the student understands you. You don't have to talk much if you use gestures. And what good thing does it do for us? It reduces our
Teacher talking time.
Exactly. See, my gestures helped you. Okay. And when we give instructions, it's important for us to know that the student understands us. That's why we can ask ICQs, instruction comprehension questions, or check-in questions, as they're called in some other sources. Why do we need to ask them?
To make sure the student understands what he has to do.
Okay, if I ask, so look at this picture and guess, blah, 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 and do this and that, do you understand? Is it an ICQ?
No.
Why not? I check your understanding. I ask
I can say yes, but still I don't understand.
Okay, if I say, listen to the text and fill in the gaps in the sentences. So what do you need to do, my beginner student? Is what do you need to do an ICQ?
It's not necessary, I think.
Not necessary to do what?
To ask this question, to make the student repeat what you just said.
Exactly. It's important for them to understand the instruction. It's not our aim for the student to be able to repeat the instruction. Because again, if they're beginners, elementary, it could be too difficult for them to build the sentence, remember what exactly you said. Right. If I say, so do this, do that, and then do this. Any questions? Is it an ICQ?
No.
No, because what do students usually say? Do you have any questions? No. Even if they do, they feel that it's not nice to ask them because they might seem too stupid. Right? Okay, so if those are not ICQs, what is an ICQ? What makes a good ICQ?
Maybe the negative question.
What is that?
So I mean, so do you need to watch the video or listen to the recording? Yeah.
Okay, is it a
I
good
think
ICQ?
any questions is okay. And I usually ask, are you ready? So when I say the instructions and like I say, are you ready? It's like, okay, so do you understand what to do?
Well, are you ready? It's a good question, like for example, for listening or something. Yes, are you ready to?
Well, it's I think good question for any kind of work, because if they are not ready, it means they don't understand something.
No, maybe I need to scratch my nose, or I need water.
Okay.
You know, different things could prevent me from doing your activity. So how does "are you ready" show that the student understands or doesn't understand what to do? I can be ready, but I could have a completely wrong idea what to do. And I'm ready to do that wrong thing.
Well, then we will understand it while doing the task. You cannot waste all the lesson to make the person just to understand if he understands you or not. Well, you should try, and then you will see.
Okay. Our student Julia, is it okay if I share something about you? She said that she is a perfectionist. But even a perfectionist can misunderstand something. You know, it happens. We're all human. How would the student feel if she starts doing something and it's wrong? It's not what you wanted from her.
Confused?
The student will be confused. The student can be upset. And you can just, you know, spoil the fun.
No.
That's because you're not a perfectionist.
Well, no, it's because I always tell my students that it's natural to make mistakes. Like everybody makes them, and if you make them, so don't be like.
Okay, we have a student here. Let's ask her. Julia, how do you feel when you make mistakes or start doing the wrong things?
I think confused and.
Are you comfortable with that? Yeah. Are you having fun when it happens?
I think that it's my fault.
See, so we undermine the student's confidence if we do that, if it happens often. It means that, well, the student is smart enough. It's just our instructions that were not good enough. So we should, you know, make sure that the student knows what to do. So what makes a good ICQ? Back to the question.
Simple question that a student can answer yes or no. Like and write yes or no. Or
okay.
give him choice.
Yes, so yes, no questions, or maybe one word, like how many people are going to talk? 2, 3. Yes, so just a very short answer. That's good. That even a beginner can do that, can answer the questions. Great. What else? So the example. Now we're going to watch the video and understand what Mark and Daly are going to do today. Do you need to watch? Is it a good ICQ?
No, like, do you
Why
have
not?
to understand every word you hear?
Oh, so it should be about something where the student can
Fail.
because, well, if you said that we're going to watch, of course they will watch. So how can they make a mistake here? How can they, close their eyes, shut down the computer? They will watch if you say that we are watching. But something like focusing on their own information, or if the student is not very familiar with the platform, they want maybe to drag and drop things where they're supposed to write. You should explain that, or not explain, clarify. Do you need to write? No. Do you? The word? Yes. Okay, wonderful. Let's continue. Something that you guys shared with everyone. Let's look at these instructions. Why do you think they're not good?
It's misleading because the task the teacher is going to say is different from the student sees.
Why don't we practice? So here we have Julia, the student. Feel free, whoever is ready, to give her instructions so that she knows what to do. Well, who would like to try? Victoria, maybe you. It was your snapshot.
No, it wasn't mine. I don't
It
remember
was
exactly
mine.
what was the task. Yeah.
It was mine.
Oh, Julia, it was yours.
Yeah.
You go ahead then.
Okay. So, Julia, please look at the map. You're going to listen to the recording, and you need to find the King Street on the map. So, what street do you need to find?
I need to find King Street. Yeah.
Yeah, that's right.
And,
Okay.
And I should find it on the map. So I should say, where is it?
No, you can drag the word King Street to the correct place on the map.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah. Shall we try?
I think I understand.
Good.
Okay, thank you. So, how was that?
I should say if I.
Yeah, okay, Julia, yes, over to you. If it's difficult, you can tell us in Russian if it's difficult in English. So how
I will try. I will try in English, but if I will have mistakes.
Okay, yes. That's not a problem.
I'm not a teacher, so I can do mistakes. I think that I understand, but firstly, I didn't understand what should I do, if I should to say or if I should to drop. But then when I asked some question, Julia said me that I should drop the name of the street on the map, and then I understand. So maybe she should to say that I should drop.
Exactly. That's a very good point. You should consider teaching career in the future. So when we give instructions, what do we expect from the student?
To do the task?
Yes, to do something. We expect to see an action. Do we always realize what action we expect to see? So here, yeah, it sounds very nice, like half of the platform is like this. Find the street. How do I show you as a student that I have found the street? What is my action? Yeah, so here it's important to say that we have different street names and we have streets with a question mark. Where's the King Street? Let's the name. Let's drag and drop if your student knows the words. So we should prompt them. That's what action they're supposed to do. Okay, great. But you checked understanding, and again, you got a very smart student who didn't hesitate to ask a question. That's fine. Right, let's look at another one. Victoria, I believe this is yours now.
Yeah, it is.
Mm-hmm. What do you find confusing here?
I cannot say it's confusing. I just tried to find some kind of example of not standard instruction or not standard task.
What is not standard here?
That we don't drag and drop. We try to offer out, suggest ideas for what not to say at a party.
Okay, let's practice. How would you give this instruction?
Okay, Yulia, so do you like parties? Do you often go to parties?
I like parties, but I don't go to parties very often.
I see, but still, let's imagine that you go to the party. Do you think that you are going to meet people of different professions, maybe, there?
Yes, I think I will meet them.
And do you think that, again, it's not a good instruction, I speak a lot.
Okay, let's go.
So, do you think do you think that there is a bad question that you can ask a person of some profession?
So, if there are bad questions that I can ask, yeah?
Yeah. Do you think that all questions are good to ask a doctor, for example?
No, I think that some questions may confuse.
Okay. And let's imagine what question would be not very nice to ask a doctor. If he's relaxing, having fun, and...
So I should give examples of...
Yeah, and you can use the prompt here on the page. If you're talking to a doctor, don't say...
I have... don't say... it's interesting. Don't say I have... I don't know.
Let's imagine I'm a doctor. I'm having fun. I'm sick and tired of people making complaints and...
So maybe something that that doesn't have connection with his profession.
Okay, maybe, but so I'm relaxing. Yeah, I'm a doctor, I'm relaxing, and in fact, I'm at a party. I don't want to hear anything about my job.
Yeah.
So let's imagine what bad thing can you tell me?
About a doctor, yeah?
Yeah, to a doctor. Let's imagine I'm a doctor.
I have a headache.
Okay, perfect.
Help me.
Great. Yeah, that's the question I would hate to hear. Great.
Yay! It worked. Okay, Julia, was it clear for you what to do?
Yes, because firstly, I think that firstly maybe I didn't understand, but I think it's my fault because I.
No, it's mine.
Maybe I didn't concentrate on the task, maybe. But then when Victoria gave me an example of how to do, yes, so I understand that what I should do. So I think that some examples help students to do the task.
So you see, ladies, what's going on? We discourage our students if the instructions are confusing. And it was clear, like Julia said, but what was the problem?
Too long.
Okay, and we discussed it before. What can save an instruction? Demonstration. So you can start with something. I have a friend who, I don't know, repairs mobile phones. And sometimes he hates it at the parties when he wants to have fun, but people start asking, oh, can you have a look? Something is wrong. My phone is too slow when I want to download a picture. Have you ever had such a situation? Or you know your student's job? Yes, you can ask about that. So you are an accountant. Do people ask you some questions about how to pay their taxes? Yeah, isn't it annoying? Oh, absolutely. Okay, let's imagine that we are talking to a doctor. What's a bad question, annoying question at a party? This would just show what it potentially could be. Because it's good that Victoria said that it's something that they don't want to hear because it's about their job. Yes, but again, if we look about, if we look at this instruction that is written here, so the question, why don't they just read the instruction? Because it doesn't say what to do. The tips about the right things to say. We don't see any tips. We just see don't say and something that could be anything. I have a dog. But it's not relevant for the situation. So if you think that your explanation can be too wordy, too long, try to demonstrate. It will be easier for the student. Right, what's wrong with this one? Victoria, it was yours too.
Yeah, it was. I think the problem with this instruction is that it's just very short and it doesn't give students understanding of what they have to do.
Okay, how can we make it better?
Again, maybe demonstration, but we have a demonstration here, so I'm a bit at a loss here.
It's not really a story what we have here as a demonstration. it's just the beginning, yes, that we have some sentences, maybe a description of the situation that is going to happen. So what can we do? If we start telling our own story about one of the pictures, it will take a lot. Continue the following stories will be enough, Alisa says. Victoria, why do you still think that it's a confusing instruction?
Maybe because my students didn't quite understand what they have to do after just having looked at this example, reading the instruction. It was still not very clear for them.
What kind of activity is this?
Storytelling.
So it's speaking, right?
Mm-hmm.
What do they need to do for speaking, or what do we need to do for them to speak nice and long and make it productive?
To give them ideas. So first of all, we can show pictures and they...
Right, the pictures show them ideas. So we need to give them some time
to think.
To think. Mm-hmm. If it's maybe they need more prompts, or maybe we need to discuss the pictures first. Yes, so what's going on here? What's going on here? And then they can imagine that, so you are this lady, you are this guy. Can you tell us a story? Can you connect all these things which we just discussed? And there are more pictures, they were just not snipped. So eventually, if they have some time to collect their thoughts, and if they have at least some prompts, maybe we can write some notes together in the chat, so then it will be easier for them to speak. So here it's just, it's not enough speaking preparation that is spelled out. So Lisa says, asking something like, what do you see in the picture? Yes, exactly what we discussed. Okay, I think we won't do it for the sake of saving time. And this one, what's wrong with this?
Again, student can be confused because maybe the words are a bit difficult for pre-intermediate students. Smell, bite, not all of them understand these words.
Are the pictures not clear?
They are. So first of all, we need to pay the attention at the pictures, to the pictures, and
Okay, but it's not a beginner student, so they could probably know some words.
It's just a bit awkward to think in this way. Like, we don't usually say or say what parts of the body do we use to do something. It just takes time to process just the meaning of this.
Right, it's just not not relevant. If we think about everyday communication, in which situations would you need to say, I can hear with my ears? That's just unnatural to talk about things like this. But as a vocabulary practice, we can maybe, okay, we have this material, we have the verbs and nouns. Maybe we should do something different. Who says that we should follow this instruction to the letter? How can we change this task? And by the way, isn't this charming? Elicit more than one oops. Oh, I jumped, sorry. Elicit more than one variant if possible. What else can you smell with? Can you smell with your feet? It's just amusing. Okay, so what else can we do with this material? We have verbs and we have body parts.
Matching. So you have verbs in the column on the left and body parts in the right column, and you match.
Okay, you can match, but you don't really have them. They need either to say or to write them. Oh, I'm undermining the platform. Well, you know, nothing is perfect. No one is perfect. If someone who's responsible for it sees the recording, they might change something, and you know, everyone will benefit from it. What can I say? Because how can I say that it's realistic, that it's a natural conversation I see with my eyes when it's not, in fact? Sorry, but I have to be objective here. For the sake of practicing vocabulary, so we want the students to activate the words like eyes, ears, and so on. What can we do? We can demonstrate, we can show, and they say ear, and they say nose, right? So we can do that, eliminate all the unnatural sentences. What else can we do? Yeah, matching would be good, but we don't have the words here. Or we can do the same, but vice versa. We can show, and they say smell, and they say kiss. Just to practice the vocabulary, you don't have to create natural sentences for that. Okay, wonderful. What about this one? Lana shared it with us, but she's not here today. What's wrong with this instruction?
It's just not necessary.
That's a good commentary. I haven't seen it all yet, and I wonder what is the worst part of it. I haven't seen the slide before, at least I don't remember. So Alicia, if you can, please explain it, at least in the chat. So what's wrong with the instruction?
First of all, we don't translate the words. Then, well, if the student has questions, then they just they can just discuss the questions about the unknown words.
Okay, and what are they reading for? We never say read, just read and have fun. Yes, we always say read and do something. Read and answer the questions, read and find some information, read and match something to something. Yes, so there should be the purpose for reading, which gives the student an idea of how to read. Do I need to just look through the text quickly? Do I need to go into every detail? We don't have that. They wouldn't know what to do. And yeah, translate all the unknown words. We don't really do that. We can do a lot more and in a more interesting way. I think it's time we talk about Lexis. That should probably be our next seminar. Okay, this is my favorite slide from my old classroom management webinar, because it's just so lovely, and it's taken from the beginner course. So Julia, the student, no, you should try really hard to feel like a beginner who doesn't know much English, and who would try to work with our student and give you instructions for reading. So here it's about doing something with the underlined words. And the second one, I just didn't copy it, but you can easily guess that it's read the text and mark the sentences true and false. So think about what we've discussed, that it should be short and clear, and demonstration is not bad usually, and we should know what the student is going to do. And don't forget your ICQs. Okay, Julia, the teacher, I see that you are ready.
Me. I was just reading the text.
Okay, I can give you a minute to prepare.
Well, I think I can try. So Julia is a student. So please look at the photos. What food can you see?
Okay, I am a beginner student, yeah? Oh, I see some water on the plate. I see. Should I look on the first picture or on the both?
Yeah, you can describe both.
Okay. I see juice and also coffee and croissants, and I see sausages and eggs and oranges. And then I don't know the words for another things because I'm beginner.
Okay, but you named quite a lot of things people have for breakfast. So which picture looks like your typical breakfast?
I think that picture number 2 with sausages, eggs.
Yeah, okay, very good. So now let's read the text and concentrate on the underlined words. Yeah, so you have to figure out the meaning of the underlined words.
As for figure out, what does it mean?
Yeah, good question. So you need to understand the meaning of the underlined words from the context.
Okay, so I should understand that translation or
So you can just point to the pictures to say what this or that word means. So just say that it's in the first picture on the left.
So I in the text I will find the names of the products or ingredients.
For some food, yeah. So you read the text and you see some underlined word, yeah. So and you say, I can see this in the picture number 1. It's on the left.
Okay. Okay.
Okay, is it clear for you?
I think yes.
So let's try.
So should I read? Yeah.
Yes, please read it.
In my family, we have a traditional Japanese breakfast. It isn't very different from lunch and dinner. We have rice, fish, and miso soup, and we drink green tea.
So
Wort soup,
yeah,
miso soup, and green tea.
So can you find it in the pictures?
As for miso soup, no, the word like our soup, so I think that it is something like our soup.
Exactly.
And I think it's on the first. On the left.
Yeah, that's right.
And as for green tea, yeah, I think it's. I also understand that it is on the first picture because green tea it's the only thing that looks like green tea on the right corner.
Yeah.
The picture.
Right.
And no, I think that I shouldn't continue to read or to read.
Okay. Maybe we can stop.
Maybe we should read another sentence because.
Okay, let's try with the second text about Katalin.
In Hungary, breakfast is an important meal. In my family, we have eggs, cheese, cold meat, sausage, and bread. Sausage, I think it's on the second picture because what looks like in Russian, I think.
Yeah, so it's on the plate, right?
Yeah, but as for cold, it's quite hard because cold it's something like холодный.
Yeah, so it's the opposite to hot.
Very, but why only cold is underlined?
Oh, so
Strange.
It's just to check if you know the word cold.
Okay. So I know the word cold, yeah, but I think that cold should be and not should be maybe and juice may be cold and
yeah, sure. Everything can be cold or hot. Cold coffee.
Okay.
Yeah, but here they describe cold meat because usually we here in Russia we like heated up meat or not cold meat.
So this example is very very strange, I think.
You mean cold?
Yeah, cold.
So if you understand the word, it's okay.
Okay. I think that's also.
Yeah, let's just stop here.
Oh, sorry, I was not well prepared.
See what happens. And she's not a beginner. She can ask all those questions. She can talk to you. Imagine a real beginner. This is like lesson 3 or 4 in the course.
Yeah.
So they are not as bright as Sigba here is. Okay, so what can we say about these instructions? Were they clear, short?
I should say, yeah.
Yeah.
As for these instructions, I think that I understand these instructions, but maybe I didn't understand what should I do. I should find these things, or I should translate the word, or I should only understand what they mean.
Right. Right. So that's what we are talking about. When you give an instruction, you should have a clear picture of what action you expect. Okay, use the photos to guess the meaning. Guessing happens inside my head. How do I show it as a student? What should I do to show that, okay, I guessed? Oops.
Well, I thought everything would be in the pictures, but then in the process I figured out it's not in the pictures, and the words are not all nouns.
Surprise! Yes, no cold meat and nothing. Well, we can say that the coffee is strong, yes, but here they talk about some alcohol. Surprise! It's hard to use pictures to guess the words. What were they thinking when writing the instructions? Okay, there are some messages. Let me see. It's so hard to give instructions. That is true. So how could we have done it differently?
I don't know, I wouldn't just concentrate on the underlined words, because if the student reads the text and has no problems with the word, then just go on and just forget about the word. Yeah.